Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Katie and today we are going to be going over some of the books that I've really enjoyed recently. I'm going to give a little review on them all and the Bible books that I've been reading recently. And I am currently trying to read through the Bible in a year. I'm using this app, which is just a simple reading plan app, and I'm doing the thematic plan. And I've really been enjoying it so far, although I did struggle through Jeremiah. It felt like a real slog to get through that book because it's just warning after warning to Israel, and it was some hard reading. So we'll start off with the books that I've been reading. So the first one is this one. It's called The Purpose-Driven Life, What on Earth Am I Here For? By Rick Warren. Now this was recommended to me and my husband, so we both have a copy of this and we've been reading a chapter a day, and so far I think this is an excellent book, especially if you are a new Christian. It kind of gives you, it's a bit like a devotional. It gives you a point to ponder, a verse to remember and a question to consider. And I just think this is a great way to start your day focusing on the promises of God. So what you do with this is you read it across 40 days, and each day it gives you something else to think about. And the main message of this book is that life isn't about us. We shouldn't be focused on me all of the time. It's about God and how we can be more like Him and make our purpose to please Him, not to please ourselves or please the world, basically. So I've found it, I'm quite a mature Christian. I've been a Christian for 30 years now, but my husband's a new Christian, and it's just really interesting to have those kind of conversations on a morning about the chapter that we've just read. I really love this. I love how one of the church elders recommended this to both me and my husband Dan, because reading it together has been so beneficial in our faith conversations and just opened up conversations that we wouldn't have necessarily had. So I definitely recommend this one, and I definitely recommend reading it with someone. If you are a mature Christian, you'll probably know most of the things in this book anyway, but it's really good to just have those reminders every morning. It's a nice short read. You can read it in like 10-15 minutes, and I found it very enjoyable. So if you're a new Christian, I would give this 5 stars, and if you are a mature Christian, I would give this 3 stars. So you can take your pick from where you are in your walk with the Lord. Okay, the next one is called A Long Obedience in the Same Direction. And this is by Eugene H. Peterson. This is what it looks like. Now, please bear in mind that these books come from charity shops. They come from my church book sharing table. So these might not be the most current covers. But I will link all of these books for you in the description box. So they might have a different cover, but it'll be the same book. So this one's just a short little read. It's only around 200 pages. So this book has a little summary here of what it's about, and it basically says discipleship in an instant society. So we all live in a very instant society. Everything is now. Long gone are the days where we had to wait for most things. Everything is just readily available for us. So this book talks about what it's like to be a Christ follower in a world full of convenience and instant gratification. And it just talks about how spiritual growth, it's slow, it's steady, and it's rooted in faithful endurance over time. It's not something that is instant. Spiritual growth is something that we are doing every single day as we get to know God more, as we live out our Christian life, as we go through trials and experiences. We grow. So it's not something that we can just have immediately. And the book basically just challenges this instant culture and reminds us that we need to have perseverance and patience and daily faithfulness to grow in our spiritual walk. And like I say, it is just an easy, simple 200-page read. So I would give this book 3.5 stars. Okay, so the next book is one that I've had loads of people ask me to review. It's called I Surrender All by Priscilla Shirer, and I am reading this through a second time. These little bow bookmarks, by the way, are made by a lovely girl on Instagram. Her business is called 31 Vineyards, and I will link it below because she makes the cutest little bookmarks. They're just little paper clip bookmarks, but I absolutely love these. I've got them in so many colours. So I am reading through this book for the second time because I just got so much out of it the first time. I mean, I've taken notes in here, I've highlighted in here, I've used some of this for my devotionals that I've been writing for my Patreon members. It's just such a fantastic book, and I can't recommend this enough. This is definitely a 5-star read from me. Again, it's a heartfelt devotional style book. I'm really enjoying that type of reading right now, just stuff that I can read, it's biblical, and I can apply straight away to my life. I'm loving those types of books at the moment, so this is definitely one of them. My word for the year is surrender. So this book couldn't have been more suitable for that, because it just encourages us to have a life where we just totally surrender to God, just put everything in God's hands and just trust him. And this book just basically explores all the different areas of your life and how you can surrender to him. She uses personal anecdotes in here. She quotes scripture. It also has little sections. Let me find one that I haven't filled in. Okay, so it has sections like this where you can fill in journal answers to the questions. So this one that she's asking was, what are some of the places you routinely go that you don't usually think of as having significant potential for God to use? How could you more consistently surrender these moments to him? Now, like I say, I'm on my second read through of this book and I haven't filled this in. Please don't feel like just because books have sections for you to fill in that you need to fill in every single section. I don't do that. I just fill in the ones where I feel like it's something that I practically want to think about in the moment. I mean, I've just highlighted so much in this book. It's just really spoken to me and it's exactly what I want to focus on right now, just surrendering everything to him. So highly recommend this book, 5 stars. And then the last book that I wanted to talk about is by R.T. Kendall and it's called Did You Think to Pray? I feel like I might have talked about this book before, but if I haven't, let me just go into it a little for you. So this book is something that, as a Christian, you kind of like, of course, did you think to pray? How many times do we go through life? We struggle through things. We go to our friends for advice. People who might not even be Christians. We complain about things. We just live our life. And then eventually, when everything gets on top of us and we finally go to the Lord in prayer, we're like, why didn't I pray about that sooner? This book just reminds us of that. It encourages us not to just go to God in times of emergency or immense gratitude or just praying ritually because it's habitual and something that we just always do. It reminds us that we can have a conversation with God throughout our day. You do not need special prayer times. Don't get me wrong, special prayer times are awesome and really good to set time apart to pray. But this book just reminds us that we can pray about things all of the time, which as Christians we should be doing anyway. But this is just a healthy reminder that we don't always pray to God when we should. And that can be detrimental to our relationship with him because the more we talk to him, the closer we grow in our relationship. It also reminds us what a privilege it is to be able to speak to the God who created the universe. Like, we literally can speak to God. Like, what an immense privilege that is. And he also reminds us that God desires our presence. He wants us to talk to him. He wants us to grow in relationship with him. And one line out of this book that I just thought was so amazing was that he writes, and I wrote it down here, I cannot imagine a greater motivation to pray than that God enjoys having me in his presence. He enjoys my company and he delights in listening to me. Is that not amazing? Like, sometimes I'm like, oh my goodness, I am going on and on to God here. But I just love that he delights in that and he loves that we come to him and pray to him. So I really enjoyed reading this book. It was a very easy read. The font is really big. And as you can see, once again, I've highlighted in it. I love to highlight my books. This one is falling apart. There's pages coming out of it. But it's just a very well-loved book. I would give this book 4 stars. Okay, and then the last book that I wanted to share with you is my Bible. So one of the books that I really enjoyed reading was Galatians. And I did a little bit of decoration to this book. And I really loved how it talks about the fruits of the Spirit, because I'm always very interested in the fruits of the Spirit. And if you're interested in reading about them, you can read about them in Galatians chapter 5, which is the last chapter of Galatians. Got them all here. So we've got peace, joy, love, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness and self-control. And I started to do a little study on them and go in a little bit more depth, which I always struggle with reading through the Bible in a year because I always want to go off and start studying sections of it. But that's fine. Like, I love that. Because sometimes you think, oh, I don't want to read the Bible. And then once you actually start reading it, you find it really fascinating and go off on your own little tangent. So really enjoyed reading through Galatians. And in my church Bible study, we've been reading through James as well. And this went hand in hand with the book of James. So I found it very interesting in that sense also. And then what else have I been reading? I just check my app. Then I also went through the book of Luke, which I found really interesting. It's been a long time since I've actually read through any of the Gospels. I don't know why, but again, I just kind of went to town on the book of Luke, took loads of notes. I used the Enduring Word commentary, which many of you will know if you've watched my videos before, but Here is an example of some of the notes that I've taken in Luke. And I just found it really interesting just to read about Jesus' life. And finally, another book that I've really enjoyed reading is 1 and 2 Corinthians. They are very short New Testament books. If you read a few chapters a day, you can read through them like quite quickly. And again, I just went to town. I've got post-it notes and highlights. I just found it just full of so much goodness. These are letters written by Paul to the Corinthian church, and he's talking about divisions in the church and how to deal with them. He talks about moral purity, he talks about marriage and singleness, he talks about the spiritual gifts, and he talks about the resurrection of Jesus and leadership. There's just so much in Corinthians. If you haven't read the book of 1 and 2 Corinthians, I highly recommend you go do that, because there's just so much goodness in there of how we should live. So those are the books that I've been enjoying in my Bible recently. Okay, I'm going to end the video there because I feel like I've waffled on for a long time. Hopefully you've found some good books that you might want to go away and read yourself. I recommend all of these books to you. I think they've all been really good reads, and I think you would probably enjoy any of these if you are a Christian. But the one that I would recommend the most is I Surrender All by Priscilla Shirer. I just found this to be super practical, and I feel like it's improving my spiritual life. So that makes it a hit. Anything that brings me closer to Jesus is a hit, and that has done the job. Okay, I'm going to say bye. Thank you so much for watching, and if you aren't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It means the world to me, and I will see you next time. Bye!
Watch me